Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the final day of Dota 2 Super League group stage action. I'm LD. I'm joined here by Luminous, and we are about to cast Orange versus Team DK. The Malaysian sensations, they've come, they've seen, and they've started to conquer, but can they complete it by taking out DK? That's what we're about to find out. Both teams are 3-0 in Group B. Winner of this best of three will be your first place team in the group. Lumi, the draft now about to get underway. Who's your money on? What are your thoughts on this match?
Yesterday, we both kind of agreed on DK, or Orange, excuse me.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to switch it back to DK.
Oh, are we going back now?
I took a long sleep and thought about it.
I'm sticking with Orange. I'm sticking with my boys.
My Chinese blood was spoiling for not choosing DK yesterday, and now I'm gonna stick to what I know best. And
did you go home and your mom wrapped your knuckles a few times?
something like that. A little
Boxed
bit like
your
that.
ears.
There you go. But the draft actually is quite interesting here if we could switch onto it, because for the first time we see Orange actually banning out Tree and Protector quite early.
We'll take a look at the draft in a bit once Jarrett decides to wake up at the producer desk. There we go. Now he's blaming the buttons. What new excuses will he come up with today?
That's like when you feed in game, you're like, my mouse wasn't working.
My mouse froze.
The battery died for a second.
And your mouse is clearly working. But no, in all seriousness, look at the draft here for Team DK. They ban out the Obsidian Destroyer as well. This is, I believe, the second team in 2 days, showing Mushi a lot of respect with an OD ban very early on. But it leaves the pool open for other heroes.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday we kind of talked about how DK absolutely have to do their homework in terms of banning out some of Orange's best heroes, and to be what I consider to be their best hero is Visage. They have a 12-0 win rate, 11-0 win rate, something ridiculous like that. And, well, first pick, Orange snaps it up immediately. I'm not even sure whether OD is worth that ban compared to the Visage.
I mean, Lumi, you said your recipe for victory for DK was ban Visage. They're ridiculously successful with this hero. DK, they won't show respect for the Visage, but they get a Batrider, very solid pick here as a solo hero, and I think more importantly, perhaps, they get Undying. This has been their secret weapon into victory in the tri-lanes, is Undying and then often Crystal Maiden. Maybe we even see Orange look to ban out that Crystal Maiden here.
Yeah, it seems to be not really a secret anymore because they pick it very highly against many teams as well. Their most preferred tri-lane is Undying, Alchemist, and Crystal Maiden. In that lane, you have a lot of range, you have a lot of sustain, because Soul Rip is actually a very powerful spell if you want to get at level 2. Sometimes you get a Tombstone. I think that's definitely the more common thing. Batrider obviously kind of wins every lane or has an advantage in every lane, so I feel like DK's in the making of some very powerful tri-lane, but at the same time, it is hard to actually win a tri-lane against Visage. So we'll see how things go. It's very easy for Orange, for example, to pick up Earthshaker and says, we got the tri-lane. It doesn't matter what you do.
And they're going to keep on going with what's been working for them.
Right.
They'll go Windrunner here. If they wanted to go Earthshaker, that would honestly be a fantastic third component to that tri-lane. The range on their tri-lane would be absolutely filthy. And the other great thing is, because you have the new and improved Earthshaker, Fissure's even longer range, and all three heroes very strong defensively. Visage, tanky, Windrunner, elusive with her Windrun ability, and then Earthshaker, he can sit a million miles back and still be involved in the fight. So I think it would be a strong pick for them. They could even go for the Sand King just because Visage, Windrunner, already so strong as sort of your two building blocks of that tri-lane, and it leaves them open. The one thing is Orange, well, they've gone a bit heavily towards the tri-lane, so I imagine DK may start banning out some of those carries now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Sand King is a hero that they've been playing quite a bit. I think they picked it 2 games out of 3 yesterday. Sand King is a hero that's very similar in Earthshaker in the sense that he has an AoE stun in the laning phase, and when you're kind of diving or converging towards the enemy tri-lane with heroes like Undying or Alchemist, some of the more melee-based heroes, you're going to tend to clump up. And a single stun that's going to hit 2 or 3 targets, that's not where you want to be in a tri-lane versus tri-lane engagement.
You know, the one thing that I also find interesting here is no Gyrocopter ban. When you pick Undying, this hero, probably the best single carry to have against him because of Flat Cannon, and it hits hits all zombies within range, but they choose to ban the Lone Druid instead, which, truth be told, and this is another emerging storyline for RNG Sports, KYXY has been, I would say, probably their, if not extinct as their best player over the past month, and it's certainly been KYXY. He's been playing phenomenally, and Lone Druid has been one of his best heroes.
Yeah, I think last time we saw DK's Undying actually go up against a Gyrocopter, and I was saying, hey, do you actually... I think it was a...
do you even take Tombstone?
Yeah, Gyrocopter and also Bristleback in that game.
Yeah.
A lot of ways to kill zombie, and I was saying, hey, do you take Tombstone? But they just went Tombstone max by level 7, just full-on kind of face rush mode, and it feels like it just doesn't matter if you get off your flak. They'll kill you so quickly that, okay, kill some zombies, but we'll kill you.
And then we come for your family too. And what do we think about this Windrunner ban from DK? So they already, or not Windrunner, Weaver ban, I mean.
Weaver, yeah.
Is that something you would go for if you're RNG Sports in this situation?
I think it's a hero that they've been playing quite a bit. I think they picked it twice or once yesterday in their 3 games. But more importantly, it matches up very well against some of these heroes. Batrider, when he jumps in and Flaming Lasso, there is a like 0.25 second startup time on that Flaming Lasso. It's somewhat slow as a casting animation.
Right.
And you could definitely get away. But more importantly, Undying is a hero that's built around chasing or having the zombies chase you. And Sakuchi just says, you can't chase me down. So with Gemini attack, Weaver is also a great way to kill the Tombstone, so I feel Weaver matches up against Undying fairly well, and it's a smart bet.
Now we'll continue the draft here, and actually Orange Esports of all teams are the ones banning out the junglers. The Enchantress, the Chen, DK has been playing their jungle heroes a bit more for QQQ, but generally when we see this Undying, he comes paired, as I mentioned earlier, with the Crystal Maiden, and we'll see what they go for, but I'm a little interested and slightly surprised to see Orange banning out both junglers here.
Yeah, it is somewhat almost impossible to defend against 3 Chen creeps, a Tombstone in the front line, and a Batrider that's missing off the map during a push.
That's very true.
He is coming in from all angles, and with a Blink Dagger, it just completes that push, and it's very hard for even heroes like Visage and Windrunner to defend. So it does make sense on somewhat, but you're absolutely right. DK hasn't been running that Undying. What's going on?
Well, we've just fixed our preview monitor, so it has stream chat, and I'm enjoying the mature emoticons being spammed out right now.
There's only mature emoticons.
I miss my Twitch chat. For the past few weeks, I haven't been able to see it because I can't alt-tab during game, but that's neither here nor there. Go ahead.
Yeah, Crystal Maiden is going to be the second pick, so no surprise there, our third pick up here, and we're going to be waiting for an Alchemist that's going to be likely coming soon, or if they want to pick up another carry hero, that's... I feel like if you want a Spectre here, it'll just be absolutely fine. And DK has been playing Spectre quite a bit lately as well.
Yeah, Spectre is definitely an option, and you know, you look at DK, it could definitely be the gyrocopter for burning, but Orange are going to snag that one now, and that's going to give you your solution to the Tombstone zombies to some extent, and just a fantastic carry in general. You look at DK, 2 fairly low-ranged heroes in the Batrider, the Undying, and that's where Rocket Barrage Calldown can really do a lot of heavy lifting. So looking at RNG Sports and their laning situation a bit more now. Visage, Windrunner, we imagine it will be an aggressive tri-lane with these 2+1, maybe an Earthshaker, maybe a Sand King, something along those lines. Gyro could go solo mid, could go safe lane, and then they need that other solo. Yeah. And also could be a Mushi Windrunner mid. That's sort of the other possibility here.
Yeah, we've seen it once in the past, and it actually worked out quite well in that game. And in that game, it was the supports that's roaming around all day long that was doing a ton of work. If the tri-lanes do match up against each other, however, I don't think Extinct and Net will have the luxury to move around. It's going to be a Luna, so most likely it's going to be a defensive tri-lane just to make sure that Luna gets farmed. And then you're going to have Crystal Maiden and Dying making a ton of jungle play, pulling, stacking, making sure they catch up in terms of level. And they don't want to fight Visage early, which I can't blame them.
Yeah, I really couldn't blame them as well. And DK, they get a pretty durable 1v1 hero in the Luna. Luna can actually do pretty well against heroes like Windrunner if she gets pulled early and has a little bit of support. She's fairly serviceable in that role. Could maybe even see her go mid and put the Batrider as that side lane solo. We'll see what DK want to do with their lanes. If they just want to tri-lane the Luna, that's the other obvious option. A lot of it will depend on Orange's last 2 picks, and they'll go for the Sand King. No big surprises here. This could, I mean, looking at DK's lineup right now, with the potential of Bat going mid, it feels like a support Sand King. I highly doubt we'll see Mushi take it mid, unless there's some laning mind games at play.
Yeah, I think the dual support of Visage and Sand King has been high success rates for Orange, and I don't think they'll change it up. Unless there's no reason to. Unless DK picks himself a Dragon Knight and puts him mid. Maybe then they'll decide to do something a little bit different. But the offensive tri-lane, consisting of Visage, Sand King, and Windrunner, it doesn't seem too strong. But at the same time, we talked about this many times in the past, it gives you a ton of room for your 2 supports to roam off the lane, as Windrunner is a great kind of suicide lane solo in the first place. So I think that's what DK is going to be expecting as well.
Yeah, and actually an interesting ban here from DK. They'll ban out the Magnus as the final pick. Something that, or as the final ban, something, hero that's been ignored. Hasn't been banned, hasn't been picked. He got hit hard by the main nerfs to Vital Crow, and to a smaller extent by the damage nerf to his ultimate reverse polarity at all levels in 6.78. But he's also just been, I feel teams haven't really been giving him a chance. I still think he's a hero worth picking in certain situations. And you look at RNG Sports, they have such a strong team fight already. You give the Magnus, if they get to level 6 and they're not already horribly losing, game's probably almost over at that point if they have a mag at their side.
Yeah, the key point that you pointed out was against their lineup, he's amazing. And against this particular lineup, he is just absolutely great. Because think of how DK is going to start a team fight. They're going to blink in with the Bat Rider and Lasso, and then drop in Tombstone Nova, and then probably BKB Luna and run in with the ultimate. At that time, you're so clumped that a 4-man RP would just shut you down. And suddenly, when you eat a 4-man RP, you're eating Gyrocopter call down, you're eating Burrow Strike into Epicenter, you're eating a Shackle Shot to follow up. You're just actually getting wombo combo, a counter wombo combo, if you will, by that Magnus to start things off. So this is a very smart man coming out from DK, recognizing how they will play and recognizing how Orange can counter.
And Orange are the ones to ban out Slark here. Interesting. I mean, now it could be a side lane or an off lane, even a jungle Bat Rider for DK. Generally, you pick Undying, you want to fight tri-lane versus tri-lane. This hero just isn't going to scale that well in general, not even as well as a hero like Visage, who's very strong in the tri-lanes too. And then you look at, well, he's up against the Gyrocopter. Later on, Tombstone won't be effective, so he pretty much runs around spamming Soul Rip and Decay, which is nice, but if that's all he's going to do, and you get past the laning stage, there are going to be better heroes. They'll go back for DK, and I like this pick a lot because DK needed another carry. They were up against so much control here between Shackle Shot, Soul Assumption, Grave Chill, Burrow Strike, Call Down Slow, and whatever else comes out with the 5th pick. Luna alone, sure, she can get a BKB and will be immune to most of the damage, although the Call Down Slow will still affect her, but more importantly, it's too much to run into. If you don't get your BKB off, you're dead. So I think getting that second durable frontline hero like the DK, a strong choice.
Yeah, it gives them a ton of early game pushing as well, given the aura coming out from Luna. Now you have aura from Luna, you have Dragon Eyes, Corrosive Breath, you have Undying, who's a great early game pusher. Crystal Maiden, not too bad in that department as well. So I think everything will be aligned once they get like level 10, 11-ish, and Blink Dagger online on Bat Rider. Here's a big issue. It opens yourself up to a Windrunner versus DK matchup, or even a Sankian versus DK matchup, but seems like they're going to run with Kunkka instead.
Mushi Kunkka, is that what we're about to see here?
I mean, yeah, that's exactly
what
we're
man.
going to see.
Get your bodies ready.
I haven't seen Mushi play Kunkka, so let's see how good his Torns actually is.
Well, I remember when he first started playing Magnus, it was actually kind of weak compared to his other heroes, but he's improved a lot on the Magnus, and we'll see what he can do with the Kunkka. Once you get the level 2X and the Torrent, it really doesn't matter anyway, and he'll have plenty of setup later on from his supports. RNG Sports, this is a big game for them. You look at their draft, they've got more AoE, better team fight, I would say probably better late game as well with Gyro and Kunkka and Windrunner, 3 strong late game heroes. Not overwhelmingly so, but heroes like Crystal Maiden, Undying, I think that might be the Achilles heel of DK, is if they don't do a lot of work in the laning stage later on, their supports don't have real stuns, only Frostbite. They don't have any stuns on the Undying. They're going to fall off a bit. So to me, the first 15 to 20 minutes, DK has to get ahead there. If they don't, I think it's going to be quite a hard game for them.
Yeah, DK has a very good timing because, wow, are we really doing this now?
Okay. Oh no, Valve, please fix.
Because it's okay, we know that they're buying wards. 10 minutes or first minute in the game. Yeah, DK definitely has a very powerful timing push because they could push at level 8 or 9, and that's when Kunkka barely has his first item. That's when Mech isn't up yet on Orange Esport. Well, all things considered normal. If they start the game with like a 6-kill advantage, then they obviously will have that. So DK, if all things goes normal, they will have that good early game timing push, and they could actually get a ton of work done there. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's introduce the players. DK on the Radiant side, ROTK is going to be playing the Bat Rider as an off lane, Burning. Going to be farming on the bot lane here as Luna. MMY or Dio is going to be playing on Undying. Super going on the mid lane here as a Dragon Knight. And last but not least, QQQ or 357 handling the Crystal Maiden.
Of course, that's Team DK. They are 3-0 in Group B. They've looked strong, but the team that's looked even stronger is RNG Sports, hailing all the way from Malaysia. They've journeyed to China, and they're looking to take it by storm. We'll have Ohio, or Ogre, as he's been calling himself sometimes as of late, back to his main name now on the Windrunner. He'll be the tri-lane farmer, the 3-position player for Team RNG Sports. We'll have Net handling the Sand King over towards the Dire Jungle. We'll have Extinct playing the Visage. In the mid lane, it will be Mushi, the M-God for many, handling that Kunkka. And of course, KYXY as that safe lane Gyrocopter. So, B-God versus M-God, who's your money on? That was a rhetorical question, but feel free to answer it if you like.
Well then, I will go with the B-God.
Okay.
Well, but they're not laning against each other, so there's really not much to talk about here. But the better question is, how is Dragon Knight going to match up against Kunkka? I imagine Kunkka is going to have effectively the easier time in lane, because his Tidebringer Cleave ignores armor on that hit, so Dragon Blood, not going to do much. Obviously, Dragon Blood's going to regen very nicely in lane still. But at the same time, Mushi's going to have better lane control, he's going to have more base damage, so I imagine he should have the advantage in that lane.
I do want to point out, just looking at the pennants here off the bat, there is a heavy fan base favoring Team DK right now. They've got about 4 times the fans in-game, so if you are an RNG Sports fan, you may want to buy a pennant now and try and show your support. I don't know if you actually still can buy them is the other question. But
I think you still can.
I'm pretty sure you'll be able to for the International 3, but that's neither here nor there. DK with the double damage rune. They want to make something happen here. They want a first blood. They'll go in, they'll circle around, and it's going to be a headlong retreat. Ohio's going to be the first one to get caught. There's your Nova off the bat, but unfortunately they don't have a frostbite. Now they're going to head towards Extinct. He's in a bit of trouble. They'll have that Nova cooling down in 8 seconds. Lucent Beam not available. Of course, the damage buff was taken, and it looks like in the end Orange will escape, but bit of a scary, dicey situation there. Are they actually going to turn this around? No, not yet.
Yeah, a lot of other teams, as we see MNY now start to decay harass, a lot of other teams saw the Visage is like, let's go chase for the kill, but at the same time, Burning was also going to miss the entire wave of CS, and he's just not really sure that they are going to get the kill. So he sees the juicy creeps and say, hey, you know what, let's just tend to these. We got already a good advantage in the lane. We were able to burn Ohio's salve. And that's not too bad as a trade-off after a couple of nukes.
Some good economic damage done there. Of course, Windrunner less likely to need that regen than other heroes as farmers in the tri-lane, simply because she has 600 range and can farm from range with safety with the power shot. But we'll look at that middle lane right now. Mushi playing the Kunkka, 5-1, super 5-1 as well. The harassment battle definitely seems to be favoring Mushi a bit so far, but the bottle's already up for super, so he can start to really spam that Breathe Fire, push this lane out. So far, so good for the DK. If anything, he's winning the lane. And then safe lane, well, it's going to be the Gyrocopter versus the Bat Rider. I would say Gyro one of the few solos that actually does quite well against Bat, because if Bat goes on him and doesn't have like 5 or 6 stacks, you could easily just die to the Rocket Barrage.
Even with 5 or 6 stacks, ROTK's got to be very careful of how he treads near that Gyrocopter. I don't think he could ever go for the kill, so you're going to see ROTK perhaps focusing a little bit more on farming. Does he have a point in stats? No, he actually saved a skill point here. Level 3, don't have the dirt skill point just yet.
So much harassment for Burning, but fortunately that's where Soul Robe comes in. He'll be healed right back up, nearly to full HP, and well, for RNG Sports, they'll continue to try and chip away at him here in the tri-lane, and overall, all things considered, Bat Rider not farming well top lane, but you expect that off lane Bat to just dominate most matchups in a 1v1, and the mid lane DK pretty even so far with Mushi's Kunkka, so we'll call both solo lanes more or less a wash, and then I guess the big question is, Lumi, is anyone coming out hugely on top in this tri-lane versus tri-lane?
I think the Radiant lineup is doing a little bit better, although it looks like we're going to have a little bit of engagement. The camp just got blocked off. They had Sentry Ward, but they weren't able to scout out the offensive Sentry being placed over here, so the Sentry got dewarded, and now they're kind of stuck with not finding EXP. And like we pointed out earlier, Crystal Maiden and Dying really needed that EXP. DK had a really good start in this tri-lane, but it might taper off unless they find some kills.
Yeah, Luna currently leading those CS charts. Burning having an easy time in the tri-lane. 14-7 for him. Top lane, the homie missiles chasing RTK. KYXY not going to commit to that. One Rocket Barrage could almost have killed him there, but it is a bit dangerous. If you get fogged, you aren't able to hit people with the rocket. So in the end, he plays it safe. He backs off.
Yeah. So the bot lane, I guess DK is going to be passively winning Slate because they have so much more damage to last it and harass with. So it's going to be up to Dire to actually force some kills because if they don't get those kills, I mean, this offensive tri-lane is built to either shut down farms or take kills, and so far they're doing neither.
Yeah, it's when we've looked at these Windrunner tri-lanes for Orange, even though they end up getting kills, it seems like the strategy is just stop them from getting creeps, stop them from getting gold and experience, and slow down their progression. Also contest the pulls with Power Shot. Hasn't seemed as focused on getting kills, although they certainly can, but they're doing neither so far this game. 0-0 and the kill chart, and the CS leader of this game. Oh, it could be Net getting caught out here. He's only level 1. He's taken an Invis Rune, and there is no Sentry Ward, fortunately, or that might have been our first blood.
The DK support's got to be very careful. They have to just walk straight back to the tower because they know. Well, what a cheeky play from Net. Yeah, well, that's 50
he
gold.
Nibbled at him.
That's 50 gold down the drain here for the Crystal Maiden. Luckily, she does have another clarity. But yeah, if you look at the skill build coming out from Undying, 2 points of Soul Rip level 3. This is generally one of the most defensive build that you can go for Undying. Just a 1 point decay, so you can stick in the front line, keep decaying, get your own HP up high. But it's really mostly to make sure that Burning doesn't die with that 2 level of Soul Rip.
KYXY playing this matchup masterfully against RTK. Ooh. We'll spam the Rocket Barrage now, but for me the key thing is just he's been harassing so effectively with the Flat Cannon. RTK really low, and it does make the offlane Bat Rider quite a bit weaker, is he can't really bottle Crow. He can't even leave the lane to go check runes too easily, because if he does, then the lane gets pushed by Flat Cannon.
I think we might see first blood coming up on the top lane soon, because ROTK, very low in terms of HP, but he has a bottle flying to him. But more importantly, if you look at Ohio or KYXY's mana up top, he popped his magic wand. He really needed mana, and that's why he popped it, even though when he was at full HP. If he doesn't have mana against Batrider could dive him freely.
Well, for the time being, both teams playing it safe, playing it cool, calm, and collected, and sitting back and farming. And when it comes to farm, you look at DK, all 3 of their solos nearly topping the CS chart. So they are leading in that department. DK winning mid by about 1 CS, pretty much nothing, but Luna definitely winning her lane. Batrider, more CS, but is struggling in terms of the denies a little bit. KYXY, is RTK really going in on this? He's going to go into the rocket barrage. He's going to drop low. He won't go down, just trying to bait out a spell or two, but unfortunately, Gyro doesn't have any long cooldown spells, so there's only so much you can really do there.
Yeah, unfortunately, maybe he didn't notice that the mana was actually back up to like about half, so he's gonna spend all of his mana.
They're looking to go in now on Mushi. Supercharges it, but Mushi's on the run. He doesn't have the dragon form. Now Mushi comes back. He wants to contest this rune, and this could be his downfall. He gets stunned. Look for the body block. The Nova, the Frostbite follow-up. Mushi's sad, and Mushi is dead. First blood to DK. Call it a nice rotation from them, and for Mushi, no wards on the map. 2 supports missing bottom lane. A little bit greedy to contest that rune.
I mean, he absolutely knew that the 2 supports are coming because there's no way a solo DK is going to run straight up at you so offensively and aggressively like that. But I guess the allure of that double damage rune just got to him, and he paid very dearly as a result.
Mushi doesn't trade mid. He either wins or he loses, but he's going to try his best to be aggressive and force the issue. Unfortunately, in this case, he comes out behind. So DK now leading by 1250 gold. We'll look at the experience, and it's about another 1250 there. So a significant lead for them early. And in our analysis, Lumi, in the pregame, we said they have to have this kind of lead. They have to start off relatively strong. They don't have to completely crush the laning stage, but I would say by the 15-20 minute mark, they need like that 5 to 8k gold advantage, some core items, and a tower advantage as well. The map control will be important for them, and they do find that first blood, but tower is not there just yet.
Well, towers will come eventually once that once Super decides to push. He does have a double damage right now, is harassing at the mid tower as we speak. Also, Batrider top is just going to be straight rushing that Blink Dagger. 700 gold in the bank right now. We'll keep a very close look on his gold. Meanwhile, back in the middle lane, it looks like Crystal Maiden getting ready to help that Dragon Knight make some dives.
Super was looking for the Dragon Tail. This is a long way to go. Will he commit to it just yet? X Torrent is there. Now the boat comes. Super in trouble, and QQQ's like, get out of here, folks. Super's still alive. Not dead yet. He's actually bottling up through it all. He's going to live.
Assumption.
Soul Assumption's going to jam it in. There's Extinct when you need it. And I think you mentioned his average kills per game is around 11. Well, he's off to the start here.
Kill-death ratio is 11, not average
kill-death ratio. Okay.
So he's 11 and 0. That if that's any indication of how well he's been playing. Also on the mid lane, also so very surprised that Super got picked off because he had this particular observer ward that we'll kind of see across the ledge. So he should have seen the supports coming. So
yeah, even at nighttime, the wards still give you quite good vision. It's the heroes who really struggle, and Mushi, in general anyway, and Mushi will rotate towards the top lane. He's got an Invis rune. He's hunting RTK, who's just used Firefly. Now the missile's there. Even if he runs back, he'll be pulled back in by a well-timed X, a Torrent. Mushi looking for it now. There's your X, the Torrent to fly. It's going to connect, and RTK will go down. This is a big kill. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, no aggression just yet, but they're thinking about going in. They won't commit just yet, but that's a big kill because you look at DK, it really is the Batrider who's their big initiator, at least through the mid game. They'll go in now bottom, Burrow strike through on QQQ, but the Tombstone gets dropped, and now it's Net in trouble. QQQ will fall. The Soul Assumption burst is there, and now the chase goes the other way. Super, he's got the Dragon form, he's got the Dragon Tail, he'll find the range, he's got the distance, and now they'll get 2 shackled up, but is there the follow-up they need? Die on the run, looks like he should be okay. 3-3. It was a calm before the storm, but the storm is definitely here now. 6 kills in the past few minutes.
Yeah, and now Burning is going to be the biggest victor of all. He's going to be
top lane. We're not done yet. On to KYXY. Gets lassoed. Pulled back into the Firefly. Well, that's a lasso down the drain.
Yeah, he's not going to get the kill. We won't really see any solo kills coming in from ROTK unless KYXY really misplays. And he's doing a very good job keeping up his mana, keeping up his HP. And the more important thing is Burning what item he's going to be going for. It seems like it's going to be a Treads Drums build, and then going to transition into a BKB later on.
Well, we'll continue to see how Orange does here. My big concern for them is just the levels on their supports, Lumi, because you look at these heroes, Sand King in particular needs a lot of levels. Visage, level 4, 9.5 minutes in. It's not great for DK either, but difference is Crystal Maiden Undying, levels are kind of a bonus for them. They do a lot even at level 3. So I look at Orange and I feel they do want to sit back, just farm, and not really be too aggressive right now. But the main question, at least not with their supports, but the main question is, can they do it? DK smoked up right now, under cover of that smoke, maybe looking for a kill here. They'll wait for that 10-minute rune. It's going to be a regen rune for Super. He'll bottle it up, and they'll back off. So some time being wasted here by DK.
They look like...
And now it's obvious, because now the creeps are hitting the tower mid.
Yeah, and you gotta send Super back mid. I mean, sure, you could maybe go for a kill, but you're missing way too much XP. Also, unfortunately, Super, his Dragon Form ran out here, and without the range stun, he's nowhere near as a scary hero. And he does see Mushi, and Mushi sees him, but like...
Well,
they're
just eyeing each other
Right,
reluctantly across the ravine for the time being. And now it's Orange's turn to smoke up, and they'll head towards the middle lane. They've got Net leading the way, only level 4, but he does have boots. Can he find this opening? We'll see if he can find the right angle to connect here. For the time being, DK fully prepared for this gank with an Undying lurking far behind enemy line. They'll go in on Super. The Burrow's going to be there. He actually comes under cover of the Sandstorm, so he doesn't get Dragon Tail, but Net's still going to go down. Power Shot connects on 3. Shackle on 2. Oh, this could be so bad for DK. Die dropping low. Gonna fall. 2 kills out of nowhere for KYXY. RTK not there for the fight. Didn't have a TP scroll. Lasso was available, but had just used Firefly. Without the Batrider, just not a fight they could win. You
got to keep in mind that DK is supposed to be winning these fights right about now, because this is where their team basically is at the strongest. But that's the power of Visage. That's the power of Gyrocopter. These heroes are so powerful early on. And ROTK was able to get some freeform up top, but not really too sure whether that was worth the trade. He is up to 1900 gold, though, so Blink Dagger in about 1 or 2 minutes.
Well, Valve really working hard on their production value of this game. Every set of wards.
Top KYXY is probably going to get pushed back. Oh no, miscue here for ROTK. At the very least, that's going to force a TP.
A Super was actually in range there for a Dragon Tail, but that was just too far to dive.
Yeah, especially with a TP coming in. As well as the supports are smoking him right now. They're also ganking their way to level 6. Once Visage hits level 6, these team fights going to get even harder for DK.
Well, we'll see DK just continue to push out this middle lane. Burning looks like he's going for the early drums, and for DK, I do feel they need to start fighting these tier 1s. Super gets caught at the rune. He was waiting for that 12-minute rune, and he's going to pay as well. There's your Visage burst damage, but Super kept alive. Pops the Invis rune. Luckiest Invis rune of his life.
Lucky
My
break.
Goodness.
Yeah, I think DK right now, maybe on certain frontline heroes like Super, maybe just want to pick up a Casual Cloak. I know we're very early in the game for a Casual Cloak to take full effects, but just look at the damage output.
I fully agree. There's so much nuke damage.
There's Torn, Bolt, Call Down. Like, there's just way too much. And, of course, the Soul Assumption, so...
Yeah, just for the Visage alone, the Cloak is almost justified. It's like a spammable mini Laguna Blade at this early on, and they'll work on this tower mid. It's dropping quickly. Orange are going to strike first here for the towers. They'll take that tier 1 mid. DK, the team that if anyone should be taking a tower first, it really should be them, just based on their lineup, based on their overall composition, but they're forced into a defensive posture, and it's all about the Batrider Blink. RTK's got it now, along with the smoke. This is one of those games where Bat's first few ganks, I feel they just have to work. If they don't, it's going to be very hard for DK to take it.
I want to say the entire game for DK's game plan is on those Blink ganks, so let's see how well they are executed. They have to be absolutely flawless. I'm talking about getting 2 kills, transitioning to a tier 1 tower push, something like that. But at the same time, it's so many heroes missing off the map. Maybe they have spotted or expected the rotation of Orange Esport going on the bot lane. They will reinforce Burning with the smoke gank, and let's see how it turns things out.
Both teams are prepared for this. Net's got his level 3 Burrow Strike. That's a big level for him. As for KYXY, all the nukes are maxed, aside from the ultimate. He's really going to hurt. Homie Missile, not so important here. They'll start off with KYXY. They'll lasso him up. They'll pull him back towards the Tombstone. The Nova's going to connect. The Burrow Strike wildly missing his Net, and that could cost Orange big time. They do find a Crystal Maiden. The Boat Torrent comes in. That hit quite a few. Shackle was there as well, but now the Eclipse from Burning. Bringing them fairly low, but not killing them off just yet. Mushi's still alive. Net, he'll come back in. This time the Burrow's on the mark. Catches out too. So much AoE, so much team fight. Is it enough just yet? Hard to say. Burning trying to work here on Net, but there's another Soul Assumption. Now he's out of mana, and Burning's on the hunt. Extinct is low, but Grave Chill won't be enough. In the end, it's 4 that fall for RNG Sports. It looked like that could have been their fight, but a completely whiffed Burrow Strike at the beginning really cost them.
I really think that would have been their fight if Sand King was level 6. Look at how close he's level 6 at the end of the team fight. If there was any epicenter throughout that team fight, they would have won that one. Unfortunately, they fought on top of the Tombstone. They fought on top of a Luna Eclipse as well as Sapphires from Batrider. There's just too many stuff that you're fighting against. And even though Orange Esport does have one of the best lineup to fight against that, they just completely overextended with Mushi kind of diving in headfirst.
Well, it's an important and scrappy fight for DK, and call that first Blink Dagger engagement a rousing success. Their fans will definitely be cheering now, and they're out in force here and with the pennants in Dota TV at least. Now getting close to level 11 is RTK, and we'll look towards that next gank to see what he can accomplish. As for DK, they had that first good fight. They haven't gotten a tower yet, Lumi, and my question to you is, what's their game plan moving forward? How urgent are the towers? Where should they be going first? If you're the coach of DK, putting you in the captain's chair, what do you do now?
Well, they're trying to get some tower advantage. Unfortunately, it's going to be coming off as a trade attempt, a spot tier 1 tower. You really can't defend that. And they're going to try to trade mid. I think mid might actually be put in deny range. It's going to be close. No, it's going to be not. And then they're also going to transition to push top. So I feel like DK is making the correct move. They cannot actually take a team fight without Eclipse. So right now, if you're DK, all you can really do is farm and trade towers. And that's what they're doing right now.
And that's a big concern for them because RNG Sports, their big AoE ultimates, you look at the Gyrocopter cooldown, the Kunkka boat, these have very low cooldowns. 60 seconds on the boat. The cooldown, I believe, is 50. Yeah, 50 at level 2. Very, very easy for them to take team fights whenever they want. Whereas DK, that lasso, a decent cooldown. Oh, they're looking for a torrent here. They'll throw it up the hill. They can't find QQQ, but still they're on the chase. He's going to drop out a Nova. That buys them time to get in range. The boat comes through. Power shot as well. And QQQ, the poor Crystal Maiden, thrown to the wolves and then chewed apart by those same wolves.
Yeah, that 285 base movement speed not going to help you out when you're trying to run from a Sanking. There is a finished mech on orange, so
and they're going to 5-man here.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, DK, I talked about the timing push that they have. If they don't get too much done before that timing, after the mech comes up, you're not winning these fights. That bot fight, if for example orange had that mech, they would have handily won that one.
And if you're RNG Sports, you have the mech, you can 5-man, but you don't have to. You can farm their jungle, you can go for that next level of items. Late game, you really should have the upper hand with the better late game combination of Gyrocopter, even here like Visage scales well, and then of course your Kunkka, your Windrunner, a natural Hex Builder, and then a big damage dealer in Mushi, a lot of AoE control for them. They could take it late, they can fight now if they'd like. The world is really Orange's oyster, and for Team DK, not out of the game yet, but they'll have to have some really impressive fights. This 2K gold lead, 2K experience lead, not nearly enough to say that they're in a comfortable position.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to find those fights. Well, one may come on the mid lane right now.
RTK is going to lead the way, but does he actually want to jump in here? No, they just want the tower.
Well, maybe. Burrow Strike's going to come through right now. Super, that's going to be bow into a call down. Tombstone is going to get dropped, but Super is going to be the first one to burst down. There's just not enough burst damage coming out from DK to take this fight. Luna getting stunned up by those familiar birds. Second Burrow Strike's going to come in. That's a 2-man stun, and the AoE damage as well as a shackle shot off the corpse.
Oh no, RTK, he jumped in to try and turn that fight around, but he ends up feeding a team wipe away. DK get absolutely hammered here. Triple kill for KYXY, and they're marching down the middle lane. That's not good. They have Eclipse now, but just how bad this situation is for DK really cannot be overstated. Again, that 2K gold lead at this stage of the game is not enough. They needed to be up by 5 to 8K around this point. At least have the map control advantage, have some aggressive wards, and have your key items. The BKB on Burning, he doesn't have it completed yet. Feels like DK just played into a corner here by Orange, who will now be getting their own BKBs very soon, and that's when things start to get very scary. If KYXY picks one up, what did DK actually do against him? There's hardly a solution in sight, and meanwhile heroes like Crystal Maiden just get mowed down by the flak, by the AoE of the cooldown. DK in a very, even though the graphs make it look even, it's a very desperate position.
I mean, it's even, but DK's game plan is supposed to be the fact, like you said, they're supposed to be up by 5 AK, and they're not doing that. Again, DK, the way that they're trying to play right now is to find a single pickoff with their long initiation of a Dragon Tail, as well as ROTK Splink. But it's actually hard to get kills against Orange because, first of all, they're very long range heroes. Visage, Sanking, who stays backwards, Windrunner, to a certain extent the Gyrocopter as well. At the same time, even if you get caught out, that bolt's Coco Run will delay any kill, and that's when the mech comes in. That's when the stuns come in and the call down comes in. DK can't actually beat a call down right now because that slow, that big AoE, they can't fight around it.
And it sets up the Burrow Strike, it sets up the Shackle shots, which it's not like you need setup if you're Ohio. You just seem to hit those things regardless, but he'll take it if he can get it. So much AoE, so much synergy with this lineup, and Orange just executing well. On top of that, the Gyrocopter KOXY played well in a difficult, well, fairly difficult matchup in general against Batrider. Took advantage of the flat cannon, took advantage of the Rock Barrage. Got a lot of denies there as well. And the middle lane, Mushi did his job. They did decently in the laning stage, and they knew they get to this point in the game with the familiars online, coming towards the BKBs. It's really their game to lose. They'll go into Roche. This is confident. The tier 1s are down middle and bottom, actually as well as the tier 2, but it's not overwhelming map control for Orange. It's just knowing that their lineup is so much stronger in the 5v5s that Orange simply can't really lose a fight here.
Also, they have observer wards in these kind of awkward but very important spots right now in the middle of the game. that's where kind of Radiant will smoke up if they decide to challenge Roshan. They don't see anybody near that vicinity. They see DK farming mid. They know that Roshan is absolutely safe. So DK, I really don't think they could take this game now in the next 5-10 minutes. If they're going to win, it's either going to be Orange making a big blunder, which I don't see them doing, or it's going to be DK farming ultra deep into late game where Birding just out carries.
I do have to say, this is a 5v3 game already. Flat Cannon is maxed. That means your Tombstone zombies will do basically nothing.
That means your Crystal Maid is going to do
in
nothing.
the team fights. I'm actually not... Does Kunkka Cleave affect the zombies as well? Do you know? Not sure,
I'm not sure, but you could cleave off of those zombies. Which
okay. Well, yeah, well, which will be very helpful. Gives you an extra target to do some additional damage with the Lothar's Edge, or the Shadow Blade. But regardless, the zombies aren't going to be doing much. Undying is basically just a walking tanky hero at best. Crystal Maiden is food. So it's really DK, and they're going to go in now. Burrow Strike catches out super. There's your Shackle. Not going to connect, but not even needed. Easy kill. They even threw an Epicenter in there. Why not? They don't really need Epicenter this game. It's like it's an additional bonus. It's not a key ability.
I mean, now they're going to try to push up on the high ground against Orange Esports. This is very familiar territory from... as we see ROTK, maybe a little bit triple, he should be fine. This is familiar territory for DK as well as Burning. Their entire team is down by a ton of gold when they're not they shouldn't be down in gold. And this is how well they turtle, this is how well they can protect that base, and how well Burning could play catch-up Dota. And let me tell you, DK is probably one of the best teams in the world kind of coming back from situations like these.
And they do have a decent lineup to defend the base, simply because they have Batrider and they have Eclipse. With those two heroes, you can't really count them out fully, but at the same time, RNG Sports, it's a hard lineup to fight into for the reasons you mentioned earlier. Things like the Kunkka with his bow, of course, Gyrocopter with the BKB and an Aegis. You can't really go on him. You can't ignore too many of these heroes either, so it's a decent lineup to defend high ground, but at the same time, there's no clock for Orange. They can sit back and farm, and they don't really hurt their chances by continuing to do so.
Yeah, they have full map control. That means you can farm your own jungle. You can start taking ancient camps very aggressively. You could take the enemy jungle as well as secure the Roshan whenever that may come up. So DK, I think they're going to just whatever blow that's going to be coming their way in the next 5-10 minutes and just pray that they don't make too many mistakes, keep on farming, and then go for the next Roshan fight. I just don't see them having enough experience as well as item to really compete right now. I don't see them winning this game.
And KYXY now up to 1,800 gold. We'll see what he goes for next, but the world is his oyster too. MKB would be a fantastic choice to siege this base from low ground to high ground. As for Ohio, 4 staff now complete. The gem is picked up by the Windrunner, so allowing Net to farm towards a Blink Dagger and not forcing that support to spend his gold. Net will be happy about that. Mushi, Lothar's Edge, just an absolute flurry of item pickups coming out for Orange. And I didn't even mention the Visage. You know, as a point booster, a Medallion of Courage, everybody's going to be a high impact hero for Orange. In fact, heroes like Visage Sand King could end up being really the ultimate weapons for this team, even though all the farm is on, or most of the farms on the other heroes, their whole team scales, which puts them in such a comfortable position. Game 1, looking like if RNG Sports play their cards right, really should go their way.
Well, there's somewhat of a big hump to get over, which is their hero composition isn't particularly good at breaking a high ground. You talked about how DK is good at defending high ground. At the same time, who is going to really be your initiator?
It's Kunkka. It's basically him with the X-Torrent,
Oh,
or maybe,
Burning.
Burning in trouble. He's a long way out. The Shackle won't connect. Now they blink. Lasso. Pull Mushi back. He can't get off the boat. The cooldown's there. The flak as well, but this is that perfect tower defense the DK were looking for. Now KYXY on the run. Can he get out of here in time? He won't be able to. Now he comes back, and he won't have his BKB Shackle latching Burning to the trees, but is there the necessary follow? But Burrow through by Net. He's going to die quickly. This is the perfect fight for DK, but is it going to be enough? Crystal Maiden channeling that ult. It's a rather futile one, I must say. Super, dropping pretty low. Another 2-hero Shackle, but they're just on the run. RTK not going to go down. Able to live with just a few slivers of HP, now extinct. Perhaps next in line, the Courier joining the fight. This is going to be some collateral damage. That's brought down. Then the Visage as well. Insult to injury, salt in the wound. Mushi has bought back, rejoined the fight, but I think it's too late. He may go down here as well. Stunned up, caught in position next to Burning. No call down there, but he's got a Lucid Beam soon. Mushi's going to fall as well. Oh my goodness, an absolute disaster of a fight. And are they done yet? They finally are. Well, Lumi, DK, that was a sensational fight, and also RNG Sports. Just some questionable decisions there in the engagement as well.
Yeah, to me, the biggest X factor in that team fight was the 4 staff on the Batrider. I talked about how Batrider initiate, and that forces your entire team to clump, and then you eat the bolt, and then you eat the call down, whatever else that Orange Esport like to throw at you. But he blinked in, 4 staff back with a Kunkka, getting focused by the tier 2. DB gets popped immediately by Birding as well as Super. And guess what? That's when Shackle Shot and Burrow Strike don't do anything. So the 10-second BKB paying huge dividends. But despite of that, Burning died in the middle of the team fight. He was forced to buy back. Yes, Kunkka on the other side also have bought back, but Burning is by far the more important player and is playing the more important hero in terms of carrying DK back. So even though they won that team fight, they didn't get a tier 1 or tier 2 tower of it. It's just kind of a team fight that they got a couple kills. So
it was a big team fight, though. Make no mistake about it. I mean,
it's a big team fight because they were losing, but I'm not sure how much ground they gained from that particular team fight.
It's more that Orange doesn't continue to pull ahead. DK
Right.
keeps it close, and DK gets starts to work towards their next items. They'll now get the Helm of the Dominator up on Burning, and he can look to stack some Ancients here for Super. He's had his BKB for a little while now, and let's see what he goes for next. I mean, well, maybe it's something like a Shadow Blade. They need some big damage items, though, in these two carries. Again, it really is going to be 3v5 as this game goes later and later. The supports will be there maybe as bait, maybe for a clutch nuke or two, but again, just not going to have that same high-octane impact as heroes like Sandcane and Visage, who, by the way, did a lot in that fight, even when they were losing. Tons of stuns, lots of burst damage. RNG Sports, they'll back off, and RNG Sports, traditionally, they sort of have a similar storyline to LGDN, where they do tend to struggle in these big games on LAN when the spotlight's on them against the Chinese teams. We've seen that from them in the past. They actually lost to DK at the G1 League Season 4 LAN Finals. In the semifinals, are they going to be able to break over the hump and have a big coming out party here? Well, off to a good start, and now a blip on the radar for them.
Yeah, DK is, or Burning, excuse me, is pushing up top, split pushing. He does have the Helm now. He does have the teleport scroll as well, so when the action gets hot on the bot lane, he's looking to defend. Super, though, they gotta be very careful. I don't see DK actually successfully defending this tier 3 if they're just being very static about this, because the range of Orange and the mobility of Orange is by far a lot better.
RTK, he'll Firefly up and charge forward. Just gonna clear out the creep wave.
The birds on the right side also kind of preventing any Batrider initiation along this tree path, which is very, very smart, because a lot of Batrider like to initiate on the paths like that.
It's also nice for the Visage because he can kind of sideswipe and backstab in. And
Sure, yeah.
that courier that died earlier, it didn't have anything on it, but that was some additional gold going the way of DK. And for RNG Sports, well, Mushi's Shadowblade was also delayed a lot by that buyback. I mean, that was the one thing I kind of questioned there, was he bought back, and he bought back very late. And then he TP'd to the tier 1 bottom. There's a long way to go. I felt if he had bought back immediately, might have been able to make a bit more of a difference. But, well, he'll get the Shadowblade soon. But his item progression, that was the main casualty from that team fight. A death, a buyback, and then killed off again.
Yeah, I wonder what Luna's going to be farming for. So after the successful team fight, already a Helm on top. And now maybe it's time for Yasha into a Mantis out, or...
I mean, I almost want to say Butterfly because, well, actually Gyro's going MKB, so scratch that. Yeah, I guess something like you said. Maybe Yasha, Satanic.
He just wants damage, right? Satanic's nice, but at this point, I think he really needs the damage output to...
It's an awkward situation. I feel he needs damage and survivability. I'm not sure that he's that durable right now.
He really isn't, right? He's just completely relying on that BKB, and team fights right now are lasting longer than the actual BKB durations.
And it's a hard game for Luna because Luna doesn't have the best range. She has a ton of physical damage output later on, but her glaives bounce fairly far. But to get in range for that initial auto attack, that's pretty tough, whereas Flat Cannon, it's got 1,000 splash, so you really can sit quite far back. You can also participate by dropping call down. Even Eclipse, you have to be close to the enemy team, and you get close to Orange, that's where the medallion comes out, the birds are hitting you, you get Kunkka cleaved, you get Flat Cannon splashed, and if you don't get the BKB off, you certainly die. So it's going to be a little bit tougher, I feel, for Birdie. And that's one of your main issues with the Luna as a hard carry. In some games, if there's teams that can just do a lot of damage as you come in or chip away at you from long range, it can be tough getting there.
Oh, it's going to the secret shop. It's going to be Eagle Song, so...
Burning, really? He has to have seen this Demon Edge, but decides he wants it anyway.
I mean, I don't really...
It's actually going to be fairly useless for the defensive capabilities,
right,
because there's also Kunkka Cleave anyway.
He just wants it for the damage output, which is a very short. Butterfly doesn't give you that much raw plus damage. It's actually plus
60 damage, but it's not as much as an MKB or a Daedalus.
Right, but it's the attack speed that matters quite a bit as well. So, I mean, when you're reliant on that BKB and you want to just burst heroes down in conjunction with a right click on your ultimate, it's not that bad. But you got to keep in mind that you're a very glass cannon.
Option 2 is that it's a Ethereal Blade.
Yeah,
I'll just throw that out there.
I
don't think so, but you never know. Roshan timers now implemented within the client. Thank you, Valve. I love that feature. And, well, 25 seconds until it respawns. Well, or Excuse me. Yeah, respawns. I was going to say reclaim, but it is in fact the respawn. And well, Bernie not farming as well as he would like. But the other nice thing about Butterfly is it's really strong when you get a Manta style, because it makes all your illusions hit a lot harder, a lot faster. The glaives bounce through more as well. And I think it might be the most cost-effective damage item with Manta style on top of it, as compared to say an MKB or maybe a Daedalus. But he's got to get there first anyway, so for now, it's just a casual Eagle Song. Won't have buyback. They're confident to force this fight, and it's going to be a Burrow that comes in from the sideline. The call out as well. The AoE is immense, and DK trying to fight their way out, but now Burning, he runs back in, he runs back out, he can't make up his mind, and during that time, his team may have lost the fight. KYXY, or rather Ohio, marching forward. Mushi as well. They're looking for kills. They'll shackle QQQ in place. Now Burning on the back foot. Still has Eclipse. Maybe he can turn this one around, but a turret is going to connect by Mushi. Pops the Eclipse. Tons of damage. Extinct dropping low, but it's not quite enough. KYXY able to fight his way out. They're all low. They're not dead yet, but will Super be able to turn the tides of this fight. Mushi throws out another turret, but he's trying to fight his way out against the big bad dragon. Ohio just out of range slightly, able to live through it out. Now Mushi on the run. The chase is here from Dai. Can the Undying be the hero? He will. Double kill. My goodness. Decay spam, Soul Rip spam. When it's all said and done, they make a fight of it. KYXY even bought back for that one, but was not able to do anything. Actually still almost has his MKB after the buyback.
I'm very, very surprised how these team fights are actually going in the favor of DK, because that team fight looked pretty bad. When literally Burning was doing a breakdance in the middle of the team fight, he was running back and forth, not dropping his ultimate, not right-clicking anybody.
He really did. He went like this like 4 times.
He was like going for the American, well, Chinese idol, I guess, the Beijing idols, whatever. And
he's jealous of Xiao 8. He wants to go on his own dating show.
And I was like, this team fight's completely lost, but they were able to win this one because DK was doing some great animation cancel, wow, at the end, and was able to clean things up. And now he's up to 4,000 gold. Has he spent? Yeah, he spent a majority of it as well. Somebody's actually getting Arcane Boots upgrade, MMY, I believe. So DK's winning these team fights that we were not expecting them to win, and I really think they have the better late game.
By the way, speaking of Xiao 8, Zhao Ji is in the casting booth again, so shout out to her. I think it's great that she's gotten so involved. And well, for Team DK, Bernie does get fairly close to his Butterfly here. The question is, how much is it going to do? For me, it's not about the Butterfly, it's about the next item, the Manta style. I feel that's where, and maybe the Satanic on top of it, but you get the Manta and the Butterfly, and you can even just send your illusions in and do quite a bit of work with them, depending if Gyro's got his flat cannon online. So we'll see what Burning goes for here. For the time being, still trying to farm it up. For RNG Sports, they're sitting back. Roshan now online. Can they take a fight at Roche? Is it going to be that easy path to victory it was earlier? It feels a little bit more up in the air now.
Yeah, actually, just to really talk about the Satanic versus Butterfly debate, or even Manta style, I feel that maybe against Orange's lineup, where they concentrate so much on bursting you down in the beginning, where they initiate with a Burrow Strike and then follow up with everything else, if you ever get to pop the BKB, which the extra strength in the Reaver component helps you to do so, you just don't die, right? Because
right, you're talking about Satanic, of course.
Right, like after you activate a Satanic and BKB, you just go back up to the full HP. It's essentially having an Aegis. So,
and I have been talking a lot about Manta style, but end of the day, there is Flat Cannon and Kunkka Cleave, so maybe those illusions won't live for too long. RNG Sports trying to defend this tower. DK smoked up, and confident movement from them. They smoke and they head all the way to the tier 2. They're still hunting for kills. They've got the Blink Dagger, the Force, and RTK. Can they find that opening to initiate? They'll back off. That was a nice little maneuver from them, but Orange not getting caught. That's been the Achilles heel of this team, is just getting picked off sometimes in the mid game, but not the case here.
Yeah, and maybe you're asking whether DK's playing kind of too aggressive. I feel like they were able to win that team fight. Maybe they were going to initiate for a little bit more. ROTK flying over the tree lines, Blink Dagger, and we're going to have to force that Dragon back. Double BKB gets popped, and KYXY is going to get burst down. He would not have BKB or buyback, and looks like the Torn of Spells being dropped by DK. They're chasing for more. Extinct's going to be running, but you cannot run from the Frost Dragon.
The Elder Frost Dragon. Big Daddy's in the house. Super cleans up the kill, and now DK, they'll start to work on that tier 2. Well, Bat Rider late game. Just fantastic initiation, and slightly out of position was the Gyrocopter.
He was behind this tier 2 tower. Was he really out of position?
Against Bat Rider, yeah, you got to say that's still out of position. I mean, he shouldn't be in the front lines. It should be heroes like, heck, the Windrunner. Even the Kunkka is fine, I feel, but especially when you don't have buyback. You sit anywhere where Bat Rider can potentially come on you from the trees, and, well, you get caught. And you are right, though, to some extent. It's more just a great play from the Bat. But I do feel there's an element of you don't have buyback, you should be playing very defensively.
Yeah, and maybe you just give up those tier 2 tower for free. So you were kind of mentioning previously how Orange Esports maybe not recognizing the late games as well, but they're going to try to make something of it. Power Shot's going to scout things out, but it's so hard to challenge this.
They're channeling Epicenter, they're going to go
in. Burrow Stride's going to hit 3, and everybody's low. The boat's going to get set up, and they're going to win a team fight with triple kill on now ultra kill on Mushi. Can they get this Roshan? They will get the Aegis.
My god, that Epi, the follow-up DK, they forced the issue, they had no BKBs. Burning even buys back, and it's just additional damage to their team. Butterfly a long way off. It looked like the tides had turned, but Orange pulls something spectacular out of the hat. They turn it around, they take down 4, they force out a buyback, and they claim the Aegis. And oh, by the way, KYXY, he really needed that because he just used his buyback, so Orange Esports, what a fight for them, and right back in the saddle. For a moment there, it felt like this game was slipping away. We'll see the graph start to dip. Truth be told, golden experience-wise, it's even, but a little bit misleading here because DK has really spent quite a few buybacks, so gold earned not telling the full tale.
Well, also at the same time, Kunkka as well as Gyrocopter spent some buyback as well, so they're definitely
That's fair. I think it's been a little more for DK, but pretty close, I guess.
Yeah, the more important thing for me is that, which is not really reflected in the gold graph, is that Aegis is so important for Orange Esports. You talked about the lack of buyback on Gyrocopter, and frankly, Gyrocopter is the prime target that Radiant wants to focus, because he does so much in teamfight in terms of flat cannon damage, in terms of the AoE slow that goes through the BKB that Burning as well as Super is carrying. So a lot of times DK wants to initiate, as they have did just now in the tier 2 tower mid, just on the Gyrocopter, kill him quick, and then move on with everybody else. Now they don't have the option of doing so, so it's going to be somewhat difficult for DK. I imagine because there's an Aegis now up on Orange, they will just wait for 6 minutes, farm up, and then take a fight.
Burning really, he needs this butterfly. I mean, just because he's got to start working on that next item. It's not really the butterfly that is the concern. It's the fact that there haven't been more items added to his inventory. And sure, Super has actually been having a surprisingly huge impact in these fights, but he's not necessarily going to be able to do it all the heavy lifting by himself. He's only got, right now, Shadowblade, BKB, Hyperstone, not really the level of farm you need on a DK to carry this one late. You'd like to have your AC. You'd like to have maybe that next item on top of it, something like a Daedalus. I mean, even picking up a Helm of the Dominator and then getting a Crystallis as well could be an option for him, but he'll need more damage to have that big impact. As for KYXY, on his way now. MKB picked up. He'll go for the Morbid Mask. Satanic should be next on the list.
I mean, Super's damage output is already pretty impressive, because you got to keep in mind that when he's in his Dragon form, he's splashing, so even though he's only hitting for like close to 200.
Well, we'll see if he can continue to find the big splashes here. It's really Orange who have the great setup. For DK, just the lasso.
Shackle Shot's going to get tossed out here, not going to hit.
Shadowblade for Super. He's lurking and under cover of that Shadowblade, thinking about going in. They'll pop the Glyph. They'll go into the big Elder Dragon form. Now a Blinken from RTK, but gets burrowed before he can lasso. Now dropping low. The boat connects, does some good damage. Actually, those 2 BKB heroes didn't do a whole lot. Not as much as I thought it would, but still Orange. They take the tower. Ohio driven back. He's low. He may go down. KYXY pops the Aegis. He'll come back. Does he have the BKB? He does not. Already popped the Coda and the BKB. One more chop. They finally bring down that pesky Crystal Maiden, and in the end, Luna falls as well. Collateral damage here. Orange Esports, they do take the tower. Buyback on the Windrunner. Both teams a little bit quick on the buyback trigger, I feel, but Orange, they may try to fight this one out anyway.
Yeah, Super's going to try to defend, but here comes Kunkka. Does have a lot of initiation. He is scouted out by a gem on the Dragonite. Can I talk about this team fight now? All right, looks like I can.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's
and then they'll start the fight once you start talking. So by all means, go ahead.
They're like stutter stepping, threatening to drop some nukes. I'm very surprised that DK took that team fight. It's only for a tier 2 tower, which doesn't have much significant strategical impact. And they know Aegis is up. Literally, KYXY stood in the middle of the team fight, and nobody dared to focus him because it's just not worth it. He has BKB, he has Flak, he has Lifesteal, and he has Aegis.
I also want to point out Flat Cannon is hitting everyone.
Yes.
The Luna Glaives may be hitting a few heroes here and there.
And as a result, like your Tombstone not doing anything, I'm surprised that they didn't wait it out. I mean, if they're forcing a fight at your racks, that's a lot more understandable, but DK didn't need to take that fight.
At the same time, they get a big item here. Despite losing that fight, Super picks up an Assault Cuirass, which will help them a lot against some of this physical damage. Heroes like the Visage, it'll help against the Medallion, it'll help against the Familiars. Won't help you against the Kunkka Cleave, but aside from that, this armor should be very useful. And let's not forget, it's a lot of damage for DK as well. The attack speed on that, like you said, 100% splash, Elder Frost Dragon, could turn out to be the carry here. You get that next item on DK, and he can go toe-to-toe against a lot of heroes. Even a hero like Gyrocopter, I would say in general with equal farm, the DK actually wins that fight. It's more just, can he get there and stay on him, and will the backline supports be able to live through the flat cannon?
I absolutely agree, and both Burning right now as well as Super is just one item away in terms of out-carrying Orange Esport. If Burning gets a Satanic and maybe Dragon Knight getting another strength item, I think there's just lacking damage on Orange Esport.
It'll be 3v5, but it'll be the Luna and DK who are just almost unkillable at that point.
Right, they just match up so well against heroes like Sankey and Visage, which are, really great early game all-stars, but at this stage of the game, it's up to the shackle shots, and Ohio has been hitting some great ones, but...
Is it enough?
Yeah.
I feel this is where you just need that sight device, and also for Orange, if you can bait out the BKBs. Well, I actually want to check the BKB timers on both teams. 7 for KYXY. Mushi just picked his up pretty recently. He's sitting at 9, and then you look at Team DK. How are their BKBs doing? We'll check the Luna now. She's got only a 6-second BKB, and remember, it goes all the way down to 4. That was one of the big changes. Big initiation being attempted here by Orange. They have an Invis run up on net. Remember, there
Super
is a
does not buyback. He does not have buyback, so
that could be key. They'll go in on him. Burrow catches too. Epi to follow it up. The lasso will disable that epicenter, but the boat comes in. That's a lot of damage. Super can't get off the BKB. Latched in place for ages. No buyback, like you said, could cost them the game. Now Burning to fall as well. That's 3 that hit the deck. All 3 cores. Fantastic fight, and you did say Sandcane, better early game hero, does tend to fall off, but that's only with the assumption they get the BKBs off, and they didn't there, and it cost them the fight.
The chain sense was absolutely beautiful. Well, can they push up on the high ground? It's going to be a full minute. X going to be used. Burning does not have BKB nor buyback. Shackle shot is going to latch, and now KYXY flacking off the tower. Burning's going to get focused down, and the rest of Team DK just a meteoric fall. This is not the DK that I know. This is very, very scrappy play, and
say what you will about them, this team is a lot like, some like the New England Patriots in clutch time in NFL football, where it comes down to the wire, and generally, traditionally, they've come out on top. They're the team that puts the wins together in crunch time when it really counts, although not recently, but in historically they have. And well, for Orange Esports, traditionally this is where they struggle, is in the late game, in the big spotlight against the Chinese teams, but off to a strong start here against DK. No buybacks available. DK will wait for them to tap out, but really, game 1 is in the books. Orange Esports, they'll take this game 1. They'll march into game 2, still undefeated, I believe, in Group B, and 7-0, and I think very convincingly in nearly every single game.
Maybe they 2-1.
Okay, so maybe they've dropped like one game here or there, but it's pretty much been a flawless run for them all the way through Group B.
Yeah, I don't think DK is going to tap out just yet, because they're saying, hey, well, we still got 1 lanes of Rex, Throne's still standing up. I honestly believe, just on the composition alone, DK was going to take the game easily if the game went late and there was kind of no big team fight going back and forth, because I mean, if you look at this Orange lineup, what base breaking ability do they have, right? If DK just parks all 5 hero behind their tier 3 very safely, what can Orange Esport actually do?
It's very hard against the Bat Rider. They also have a gem, so you can't really look to initiate with the Shadowblade Kunkka. I feel that's where Orange would just want to sit back and farm if they wanted to play if they wanted to go with the high percentage play instead of forcing the issue.
Right, and if you're farming against a Luna as well as Dragon Knight, it's a very dicey situation.
I think they could still take it in that scenario because they also have a natural Hex carrier in the Windrunner who now has the Hex. But you're right, it would be dicey. And I think it would to that end, it probably favors DK because DK were the ones that were playing catch-up. So if they continue to farm equally, then relatively speaking, the gold deficit will decrease.
Right, so that's why I was keep questioning DK's play to continue to exit the base right now to, for example, defend a tier 2 or farming a creep wave where, might not, you could have just waited for 5 seconds and it'll be pushing to your tier 3 as well. And again, they're leaving their base now, maybe forced to being do so, because if you actually just sit in the base right now, you are never going to see any creeps because they will just farm your
I just want to point out one of the most obvious smoke ganks in the history of Dota, but they might find an opening here anyway. RTK leading the way. Mushi clearly farming with some backup in tow. They'll catch out net. They'll pull him away, but the triple familiars are coming in. Can they get the stuns off in time? Super charges in, but he's not focusing anyone. He's playing a little bit of do-si-do here. So too is Burning, and while that's happening in Epi, Burrow, that's got to be the nails in the coffin. Just too much AoE, too much damage, and some absolutely spectacular Sandking play. They'll clean up Super, and DK, it was their final gambit. It doesn't work, and they tap out.
That was a 3-man Burrow strike after a buyback. Literally the biggest Trojan
and
horse.
The epicenter hit everyone.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. The BKB's already down to the 4-5 second mark, so they went out very quickly. Ohio's Cypher Vice really sealed the deal in that team fight as well, so great play on Orange Esport. It looked dicey for both teams in the mid game, but what a very exciting game.
Well, Lumi, I think we're going to see Net as the MVP, at least if I have any say. The chat's certainly there. Everybody trying to bet their rares on Net right now. Unfortunately, you can't do that. You can only bet on the team. But RNG Esports, they'll take the Game 1 victory. They're going to lead this best of 3 1-0. My question for you is, just what's sort of your feelings on both teams? And as we walk into Game 2, DK do lose this game, but it felt like a lot of it was just their draft. Not that they couldn't win late, but it was going to be very hard to win late because Undying, Crystal Maiden don't really scale. How do you feel about their chances marching into Game 2? Who looks stronger overall to you?
So earlier we were talking about Visage, and he's now 11-0 for the Radiant, for Orange. I didn't feel that he had the similar impact that he usually have. For example, he was kind of
still at 9 kills, not too bad, but yeah, it wasn't completely dominant.
Right,
that's
it
for
wasn't
sure.
a dominating performance, and I think that speaks to how well DK was able to play against it.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the draft that really determined the game. I was DK's poor play, in my opinion, as well as some of the decision making.
Especially that last fight bottom. I mean, you mentioned they're defending a tier 2 that late into the game. How much does it really matter? Sure, it's nice for Roshan control, but that's just such a dicey scenario. Right. And they had the hero that didn't have buyback in the front lines. It was the same thing that RNG Sports got caught with mid earlier, but fortunately for them, they had margin for error. DK really didn't.
Yeah, normally I would say, yeah, okay, that's a fine defense if the enemy team didn't have Aegis.
Yeah.
So it was.
Enemy team had Aegis.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap up Game 1. Game 2 is coming up soon. It's a best of 3 between RNG Sports and DK. Both teams sitting pretty at 3-0 in Group B, but only one can be that 1 seed, and only one can get seeded directly into the round of 4. I'm LD. He's Lumi. Stay tuned. Game 2 after this.